what ends up happening is the temperature in here is always 60 degrees or about 15 Celsius, and it's always about 72% humidity. Now, the really nice thing about this is that we don't have to do anything. This is natural. The only electricity we pay for is for the lights. We don't have to pay for any of the cooling or any of the humidity in here. Now, the really good thing about this high humidity, or wanting to keep the humidity higher, is that the wine in these barrels wants to escape. It wants to equalize with the pressure outside. So if the humidity is high, less wine will want to evaporate into the air. Now that aroma that you smelled when everybody came in here, and you can smell that neat aroma, that's something the winemakers call the angel share. That's the wine that has evaporated out through the barrel, and that's really expensive because now it's been in the vineyard, it's been in the crush pad, and it's going into a big oak barrel and being stored for a period of time. To have it evaporate is really not a good thing. So by having our higher humidity in here, we keep that to a very minimum, and it's a really big part of it. Now we have approximately 4,000 barrels of wine in the cave. Each of these barrels holds about 300 bottles of wine, or 25 cases of wine. So if you're really quick with math, you can figure all of that out. But we also have these are new barrels, and behind us you can see they're still wrapped. Now the minute a barrel comes into the winery like these, they're going to get a name tag. That barcode down there is the name tag for that barrel. We can track that barrel now for the rest of its life here at the winery. It's telling us where we bought it, when it got here, what kind of char there is on the inside of the barrel, and eventually it will be like these. If there's wine, and it's going to tell us what wine has been in there and for how long. Typically, a red wine, like the second wine we're going to taste when we get inside the tasting room, that wine is in oak for 18 months. About halfway through, we take the barrel and we move it down to the winery. We update it into a big tank, and then we evaluate it. And the winemaking team will make that evaluation as to whether or not they want to put that wine into an older barrel or another new barrel, or what kind of oak regimen they want for the last part of its life. But a barrel will typically last about 4 to 5 years. And then it becomes planter. They sell it to the local garden supply store and cut it in half, and that's the end of it. Because at that point, it becomes very neutral in flavor, and it doesn't have anything more to give. Now, 60% of our barrels come from France. Those barrels cost us about $1,600. This is a French barrel, so this barrel right here was about $1,600 to buy. You can see how many of them we have here, and here, and here, and all of those just came in now. Those will be used for the vintage that's on the vine right now. Those wines will go in there. And when it goes in there, it's going to, after we've got it out in the crush pad, then we're going to put a tag on it. And we're going to, and we, again, because we keep all of these separate, the codes are going to tell us exactly what lot that this wine is from. So this is Merlot. There's some Cabernet Sauvignon CS over there, and we know exactly. Again, we're keeping all this separate until the winemaking team has a chance to really evaluate it and decide what's going to go into the final blend. And that's really a good thing, because something might go into the top blend, or the second blend, or the third blend, depending on what ends up happening. Now we do that with not only this property, but all the other people that we buy from. Now the caves took 18 months to build. They worked double shifts every day. A company out of Denver, Colorado came out here. They were a mining company that mined in the Rockies, and they brought their equipment, and they worked double shifts. They pulled 7,000 truckloads of dirt out of here. And the really good news is that a neighbor down the road, asked the Benzingers if he could have the dirt. The Benzingers were going to have to pay to get rid of it before that, until these neighbors decided they wanted it. And by them taking the dirt, the really nice thing was it didn't even leave the top of the mountain. The dirt went down about 300 yards down the road, and it filled in a ravine where this guy had a spot we wanted filled in. It saved the Benzingers a lot of money by not having to move this dirt across the state somewhere else. The thing is that they talk now about this guy getting free wine for life because he was able to help the Benzingers out with that. So speaking of wine, let's get back on the